Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton here from howtodrawcomics.net, and welcome to today's video. I'm here in the house with Ric Bülow. Hey, how you doing, Rick?
Hello,
We've
hello.
got Deth Phimmasone. Hello. Did I pronounce your name right, Deth?
Close enough.
I always get it wrong.
It wasn't
Always.
right, but it's all right.
And we've also got Ed Foychuk, you know Ed, and Jason Flowers. Very good to have you all here for this very special occasion. Ed, you're the man of the hour tonight. You're the one running this show, so let's talk about why we are here indeed.
Okay, so this is going to be our broadcast related to our sequential challenge. We have in the past have the summer sequential slam, you know, our contest in the summers and stuff like that, right? And what we would do is throw out a script, get a lot of entries, give a lot of prizes, feedback, all that kind of stuff. So this is the feedback portion of it. That we've got some kind of amazing, I don't know which way I'm putting here, amazing minds that are going to give feedback into this. No. The feedback that we give, please keep in mind that some of it's going to be sometimes a little harsh. Sometimes it's going to be like you're going to be like, oh, well, they didn't see this. Take the ego out of it. Relax and appreciate that there's some professional artists here trying to give feedback on your work that you're submitted. We've got almost 30 entries of double page spreads and stuff, right? So like this is awesome. Tons of work went into this. And so we appreciate everybody that threw in an entry. I know that we've got a few special people here that really have come forward to help us judge. And I personally really appreciate everything that everybody's put into it, from howtodrawcomics.net, ComicsCast, and everything else. That's everybody that contributed prizes to this. It's kind of freaking awesome, right? Who do we have here? We've got Jason Flowers. Jason, do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with TMNT?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Jason Flowers. I draw comics for a living. Mainly doing my own comic stuff right now called Bounty Bullfrog, but I've done at least 4 covers for IDW on TMNT, and I've illustrated covers for Aftershock, Scout, Arcana, Caliber Comics, stuff like that.
So Jason knows his stuff when it comes to TMNT.
Yes,
definitely.
I love TMNT. Is like some of my favorite stuff in the world. So
man, me too.
Yeah. I know him as Jason. As I call him the biggest TMNT nerd I know, and that's saying something. He does Turtles Tuesdays on his Facebook page every Tuesday. So if you're a Turtle fan, find his Facebook page. I'm sure links will be in the description below.
Mm-hmm.
And
every Tuesday.
Go join him every Tuesday.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And we've also got Deth, who's also done cover work for IDW, and he came and brought the heat for this contest. He's the one that everybody hates because he wrote the script.
I think it was written for artists. So
yeah, I think so too.
You know, there wasn't much dialogue in it. It was almost specifically for the artist to shine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's great. That's how comic book scripts should be written.
I think so too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all these entries and we're going to be giving feedback on them. And like I said, sometimes it'll be like hard hitting. Sometimes we'll just touch on the main bullets. Anything that pops off to any one of us, we'll talk about here. But we also realize that like we can't be here for 10 hours either. You know, all of us have jobs to do and everything, right? We've got to draw some turtles, right? So
exactly.
Why don't we go ahead and jump into it? We can share the screen.
There we go.
And the first entry here is from Peter Quills.
Mm.
Any thoughts?
Okay, so this is a one page?
One page was submitted. What's the first thing that makes you think that for one page? Like, what's your impression? Deth, you go.
I think the first and second panel, they blend into each other a little bit too much. It's a little bit too muddy. You need a little bit of contrast in there as far as detail goes to maybe separate the two.
Maybe here.
Other than that,
I had to focus a little too hard in order to understand what was in the second panel, and you should you should never really have to do that as a reader for comics. It should be easy to understand as you look it over.
Yep.
And I think it is too. Yeah, the contrasts are not focused enough to do that. A bit too messy.
On the bright
this,
side,
this area is pretty cluttered up in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the bright side, I like the old school style that the artist has gone for. It reminds me a lot of the original Ninja Turtle books.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hatching that they're using and stuff, the ink hatch, I think they're really, it feels old, right? Like, and I dig that. I think, panel P3, all the rest of the panels are a lot more readable. He used the positive and negative space a lot easier and stuff like that. But that P2 is a mash. Like, it's really hard to make out what's going on there. Right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's Peter Quills. Let's see. I don't know if I want to back that out always, but.
See anything, Jason?
Next up is Riley Brown.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't
this
know.
is
Jason,
great.
you want to go on this?
Sure, yeah. Like, give me a second here. Kind of like to try to feel the flow.
Yep.
I mean,
Here's a page separation, obviously, right?
yeah. I mean, I think this was pretty good in terms of panel flowing. Compared to, not trying to compare the first and the last, but that second panel definitely speaks a lot more volume in terms of what's happening as opposed to that first one did.
Yep.
A lot more clearly understandable. And I like the black and whites. I like the contrast, variations of layers. And yeah, I like that splash second page is really nice because you could tell that those are foot soldiers in the foreground. You've got your turtles in the middle ground, and then you got your background characters. This is pretty solid.
Yeah. Solid entry for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
The only thing, there's some things that I really like about here. This is bringing the viewer down into this one. We're kind of bringing the viewer down into, what would that, 1, 2, 3, P4, right? We've got a lot of us bringing the viewer down into this one on the other page. There's some good thoughtfulness here too in the strategy of the page design and stuff. I don't think it always carried through the panels, but this isn't bad. Even this knife, he brings us here, it brings us here, they bring us down here, right?
It definitely moves the story.
Yeah,
exactly.
they're moving the eye pretty well. This first page, I think, if they would have jutted the billboard a little bit more or something like that, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, they could have brought us into P2 a little bit more. It's a little flat, but other than that, it's a freaking great entry, right?
Yeah, there's a good contrast between the blacks and the whites as well. A good rhythm between those different values, which I think helps it helps your eye lock on to different areas of the page and keeps it moving. I think that's really important to always keep in mind when it comes to comic book illustration.
Right.
It's hard to know where to put them sometimes.
With that first entry, but that's the difference. There's not a lot of confusion in that entry, right?
Exactly. There's clarity.
Okay, next one is Ofuki Solomon.
Oh.
Anybody want to tackle this one, Rick?
Yeah, first and foremost, I see he dropped the script a little bit there with the first two panels.
Yeah. Where's P1, P2 here, right?
Exactly. I mean, normally I would say if it was done right, it's not really a big deal. But he completely forgot that introduction panel.
Okay. Does that bother you? Do you think on this one?
I would have liked the setup, as in the story started there. Now it seems like it's a continuation from a previous page.
Good point. Very good.
It almost blends with panel 2. Like, I almost feel like I'm looking at the ceiling or the background.
Oh, you know what?
I think you're right. Yeah,
this is actually a panel right here. You're right.
That's what I thought.
Actually a panel right there.
So
And this is the next
That's a little
panel.
confusing.
Oh.
I love anything where you're breaking the fourth wall and like characters are coming out of panels. Big fan of that stuff. My thought for page 2 is the swords in the foreground are really cool, but they should probably have a little more line weight to them to kind of show the depth of those are in the foreground as opposed to right next to where Raphael is.
Yeah, right. We've got thicker line weight on these nunchucks and stuff like that, and even swords in the back versus these ones that are closer to us.
Yeah, those two in the foreground were just really need
Too
to be a
thin.
lot thicker to kind of like even bigger. Honestly, almost like right at the screen. You know,
Yep.
kind of right there.
Yeah, right. If they were to come in like this or something like that, right? We know that they were right up here or something.
Like that's you know, the swords are right there, and there's some foot soldiers holding them.
Totally good catch on that, man. Good catch.
Also, good catch.
I love it. I love
it. That first panel catch is kind of just saying, well, he should have done that better then. I mean, I like the idea and I like the attempt, but I don't feel it worked as what he wanted it to.
I thought that was one panel.
Me too. I still think it's one panel.
even with this edge separation, it still looks like one panel.
I mean, it looks like one panel. Panel 2 is fantastic, but that first panel doesn't really explain to me that what's supposed to happen, like you guys said.
Yeah, and I was just saying, I don't know if I like the face being cropped out here. I get this as the emphasis, but I don't know. I'm kind of hit and miss on this crop.
I'll be honest. Panel 3. Okay, so I panel 3 and panel 5. It's supposed to be Rocksteady, and it's supposed to be a turtle, and I feel like their ink makes it look like fur, and it's the texturing is really kind of messing with me because it doesn't look like the proper texture.
Also, panel 4 doesn't really help with telling that it's Rocksteady getting impaled as much as it could be. It could have been.
You mean panel 5 here? 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, 4.
I was going to say
panel 5. If panel 4 had shown a little better that it was Rocksteady that was going to be impaled.
I like the overhead view, and it's pulled out, so you see the turtles fighting for 4. I think you just needed a little more of Rocksteady's snout to tell that this is
it's
being stabbed.
That crop there, you know, if he would have put the snout in there,
just a little more of Rocksteady.
I agree. Okay, lots of good feedback for him.
But it's all good. I like the style.
I love it.
Next one is Eric Lalone. Okay. So, you know, he's got the panels going on here. Clayton, what do you think? Any thoughts on this right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously in terms of you know, the varying levels of skill set that is out there within comic books, I feel like this artist still has a lot more room to grow, but I got to really commend them for jumping into this competition and actually doing 2 sequential pages, because this is tough, man. Telling stories with images is hard. So with that out of the way, in terms of just the storytelling, I think that, you know, you've got your establishing shot there, which, you know, tells us where the situation is taking place. Great.
Yep.
Not sure at first glance what's happening in that first one. I guess they're beating up.
In this one? P2?
Yeah, they're beating up Rocksteady, right?
He's coming out of the tunnel, and they're all kind of flying off and stuff, right?
Cool. Okay, awesome. It might just be... Maybe it's because it's too small for me to see.
And then 3, they're kind of sitting here recovering from it.
Yeah, so, you know, one of the things that really engage the reader when you're looking at a comic book page is how dynamic the scenes are. So how the camera is actually catching those characters. And what we notice here as a running theme throughout all of these panels is that many of them look two-dimensional, right?
Yeah,
so in other words,
you're
looking at the characters directly from the side or directly from the front. Even the first 3 panels are directly from the front. So what I would say in terms of, you know, really ramping up the level of engagement within these pages, just as a general piece of feedback, is try to mix up those camera angles. May mean further studying perspective on a much more advanced level. But once you've got a hang of it, that'll give you so much more freedom to be able to place that camera and have it observe those characters from whatever perspective and an angle you want to represent the scene on. So
I'll go you one further. They're almost all the same sizing. Like the camera distance from the figures and stuff like that is very, very similar, right? You know,
that's another good point, actually, just while you're on it and I'm thinking of it. Try to incorporate contrast, not just within values, but also within, you know, how zoomed in a camera is and how pulled out it is, the size of the characters, their placement in comparison to one another. Contrast is key to maintaining interest throughout a comic book page.
Totally.
Good point, Ed.
Okay, good one. Next one is John Legaska.
Oh, this is cool.
Oh, damn.
What do you think? Who wants this? Jason, you want to take a poke?
Let's see. All right. I love the style straight off. I
Yep.
really dig the style. I like the very homage of the Mirage character turtles. That panel 2 is a little hard to distinguish what's going on.
Yeah.
And
It's turtle
I
shell.
I love panel 4 though. Panel 4 is pretty awesome. Okay, I see he gets stabbed. I love the last panel on that page too. It's just I feel it's a little cramped. If anything,
Mhm.
I feel like it could be a little more thought out. But I love all the characters at the end there. The huge Technodrome coming through.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
reminds
I
me a
agree.
lot of a storyboard artist type style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like
panel 2 is a
especially-
little hard to understand that he's smashing through something to kind of like
Yeah.
hit the turtles. I love the comedicness of them, kind of like their shells bouncing around.
Oh, yeah, right. That's cute.
But
That's what that was. I wasn't sure if they were, because there's not a lot of motion there, so I wasn't
Right.
sure. It's almost like, are they a display of shelves or something? You know,
they
like,
almost look like they're on the ceiling
yeah, right.
in a way.
Yeah, he's got to be able to show more motion there, like more impact in these shells flying out, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And
totally.
you always want
And
to
I
remember
also
the
feel
flow.
his
the flow
detail
of
by
it.
the last panel there, he was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to really scribble this in and stuff like that. And I get it because it's a massive panel, but the inconsistency of quality, I think, like if I look at P1 and 2, he spent a lot of time doing some delicate line work and stuff like that, and then it starts to fade off.
My only concern or my only issue as the person that wrote it is
Yeah.
the last panel.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have the big balloon saying turtle power, and only one balloon, and it's supposed to be connecting to all the turtles.
Yeah.
And I'm just like wondering, where would you place that balloon in that?
That's
panel?
a good point, because you always
Yeah.
want to remember where your lettering is going to go.
Yep.
Because if you do too much, it kind of makes it.
But also a little back to Jason's point with the action, proper action lines and all that, and the flow up in panel 2. If you go back to go to where Rocksteady is being stabbed, it looks like with how he does the movement of her blood, he's actually being sliced rather than stabbed through. It goes
Yeah, because I
side
see
and
what you're saying.
in.
The blood is flying this way, right? Like
Yeah.
it's directional, right? Like as in the blades flying in a directional sense, right? Yeah.
I like
I
how
love that
Gon-
last panel with him standing on top of him, though. Kind of like
Yeah.
he just jumped
That's
on
a good
top of him
panel.
and stabbed him. It's
Yeah,
great.
that's kind of cute. I
Yeah.
agree. I thought that was
But
cute.
the way I always want to remember the flow too. Like I feel like with the way Rocksteady's looking in panel 2, he's making me automatically go to the next page over. And then
Yeah,
the way
right. Like
Donnie's
this doesn't
holding-
bring us down to
right.
here. These
Right.
guys don't bring us into here.
No,
This-
that needs to be flipped.
This
And then
kind of
Donnie's
brings us
setting
down to
is-
here. Not too
yeah.
bad. And this could be redesigned to bring us over into here, right? Like the
Yeah.
flow has definitely got some issues here.
Yeah, panel 5 and 6 are good, but the flow is just a little off for the others.
Yep, for sure. Okay, let's jump to the next one. This is Juan Diego Toro. Who I don't know, who am I picking on here? Rick, do you want to tackle it first?
Yeah, I think we have a panel 2 issue, kind of, again, with the turtles here. It kind of, both with the flow, and it took me a minute to see where there's a lot of debris interacting with the turtles, so it took a small minute, but not a big issue. And then the panel flow as well, as where it almost directs it back at first to panel 1, but with the two lowest and Rocksteady, it directs it to panel 3. So that I think maybe that could have been done a little better with the two top turtles been brought a bit more down as well.
Yep. Something about P2 also bugs me. For some reason, when I'm looking at, I feel like they're being sucked in.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a random explosion of like bits and pieces going everywhere. It feels like there's some. Do you know what I mean? That's the opposite effect, and I'm not sure why that is, but it maybe because the debris is so particularly scattered in a very particular area or something like it. It's not like everything just blew out of that fencing or something, or that gate, right? So
if anything, I wish they were kind of outside of that panel a little bit. You know, like
yeah, sure, like
you
put
know,
a panel break.
his head just breaking out of that panel just to show you. Yeah, that would give it a little more motion, like coming out of it.
Yeah, there could be a panel break here or something like that, right? You know, like something, I don't know, some panel break that leads us to P3.
And then if Rocksteady was being stabbed, if that panel was flipped so the sword was going into the next panel, it really
sword's
helped.
coming here, and it brings us into this panel. And then I actually like this overhead shot.
Yeah, I like that.
Here.
Awesome.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think that it's all over.
Yeah, it's a dun dun dun. The music starts playing and stuff. It's a very heavy shot. I love how he did it. Yeah, and then we got the next page, and I think the expressions are good. We could have brought their view down a little bit, you know, like just a little. They've already got a little bit, but it's not bad. And then I think the only thing I would like to see is like I'm kind of losing the character a little bit here. You know, I'd like to see a little bit of either haloing or stylistic heaviness in the line or something to pop them from the background.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No real depth in this one. There's a little bit. But...
On the last panel, I like his use of the spot blacks though, with the shadows and stuff.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
It's a cool effect.
I agree. Good stuff. Good stuff, Juan. And you know, when we're being critical here, we get excited about certain things or whatever and stuff, right? But we're always recognizing that these people put in a lot of effort, right? So even though we're not like, oh, thank you so much for submitting, the thank yous, it was at the beginning of this, and maybe we'll say it at the end. But as we're going through, we're just getting a nitty gritty of the feedback, right?
Yeah, all of these are quite amazing. Yeah. Like there's some stuff here I've seen, and they could be hired by IDW. I mean, they're that good. So.
Yep, for sure.
So something is going on here. Did you? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'll clean that up for you guys. So just so it makes a little bit of sense there.
And then the pages should be swapped as well.
Oh, you're right. Damn. Okay. Ignore what I'm doing. This is one, right up here, and this is two.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's like a manga.
I guess the thing is his choice of tilting horizontal kind of throws things a little bit, right? You know, like if I was an editor and I all of a sudden somebody threw this at me, I'd be like, cool. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? How do I bring it to print?
I don't. Yeah, that doesn't work. Especially if it's like on the same page that this is supposed to happen on the same. Same fold. Oh. So no, that wouldn't work as much. I mean, overall, I like the coloring, I like the action, I like the art, but
whose entry is this?
This is Eric Aylons.
So is that a half page on the right, or is that a double page?
No, it's a little page, but it's tilted. He's got the landscape profile on it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. If he hadn't done that, dude, this potentially could have been the winner. Like, if he had kept it, you know, 11 by 17, 2 pages. I think this one could have won. I love this freaking art. It looks great.
I agree.
It's amazing.
I'm like drooling just a little bit, and I'm like, damn.
It looks great.
So much good about this.
And there's a lot of character to the way he's drawn the turtles. There's the camera angles. Damn. Absolutely fantastic. Action-packed. Got that engagement there that I'm always harping on.
This is 1. This is 2. This is 3, 4, 5, 6. Were we supposed to end 6 with a sword through the heart?
No. He added an extra panel.
Panel. There you go. Panel 3 though comes off like that's supposed to be 2, and then like they're resting, and then suddenly they're hit.
Yeah, there's some confusion.
That Rocksteady.
I don't know, because he overlaps here slightly. This leads me into 3, right? He's got a slight overlap, so it's kind of there, kind of not, right?
But yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I actually think they could have got rid of 3 and just had this surround thing somewhere up here, and you know, like maybe move this up, And then, I don't know. I have a feeling he didn't follow script exactly on this, and this is why there's some confusion here, right?
Yeah.
Has that nice contrast between panel sizing there, which I like.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
angles. You know, he's angling us around and stuff like that. I love that manipulation and moving the eye. Like there's and even look on this other page. We've got a whole bunch of angles that are leading us in, and we've got a backdrop of even more angles that kind of just give us a little bit of depth into the panel. This is some good strategy here.
Yeah.
I think what he tried to do was to show us his skills and his knowledge of that he knew how to do comics, but he overdid it. You know, like for it to not so those mistakes came in and became mistakes that we call mistakes, because had they been separated, wouldn't have been mistakes after all. Like had that flip the page just been that one and not been the direct start to a two-pager, that would have been no problem, right? But
yeah, his choice of going horizontal is screwing with us all, I think.
So I think he's here. Yeah, basically his idea was to show as much as possible in those 2 pages, and he sadly overdid it.
Bebop's
cool,
awesome, though.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks. Oh yeah. I'm not trying to put
That last panel on page 2 is incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
it is really, really good, and that's why I'm saying
There's a lot of
I think
energy in these pages.
I just think he overdid it to show what he could, and that's sadly what makes us say, if only he didn't do it, right?
Okay. One critique, though, I'm going to say in this panel, we're loving the art. These guys look like they're facing off against an enemy that's surrounding them, right? This is what's his face?
Bebop.
That's Bebop.
Bebop. Is he on their team?
No.
No, he's coming up.
So he
behind.
looks almost like he's standing with the team right now, right? Like
That's
it's
true.
you know, I don't feel like the turtles are surrounded as much as
Well, if you look at Michelangelo's to the right's expression, he looks directly to Bebop as if something's wrong, but it could have been done better with Donatello.
I want
well,
some
they are
clean
surrounded.
separation here. I want some separation of that. This is the group, and he's like, even if it was just a little bit of a haze that brought him back just a little bit, just to punch him back as a colorist, just to move him just away from the group, because without all that, it reads that he's standing there with them.
I think
That's
if
true.
Nike's shell was facing the reader and then like his face was kind of off to the side looking, then that would have helped distinguish the 4 of them.
Still super
But
strong.
yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
Yeah.
if that page wasn't like that, man, freaking A. This would
Hey,
be
the
like-
other cool thing.
We're not announcing winners here in this feedback stream, but this is a strong entry. But unfortunately, playing with the script, like I feel like I'm the editor here. Me and Deth, we put this thing together, and so as the editors, we're like, well, geez, I love this, but I can't bring it to print.
Yeah.
So I don't care how much I love it.
Clayton, you were about to say something?
Oh yeah, the other cool thing that I just wanted to quickly point out, because I think it's important, is the expression and emotion in the turtles' faces. Like just their brow and their mouth and everything. That just is such a great storytelling tool to always implement as much as possible.
Yeah, he definitely know what he's doing.
Yep. Oh yeah. Okay, next one is Michael Johnson.
I like the saturated colors first and foremost.
Then you go first, Rick. Tell me what you think.
But then again, there's a panel 2 issue. Again, me and the panel 2 issues. If you zoom in, maybe it's because it's so far away or something. But
I really have to zoom in here.
you really have to zoom in a little bit too much before I could see all the turtles.
And even then, like I'm still trying to make it out, and it's right in front of my face here on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the camera angles is a bit simple. It could have been. It's supposed to be an action sequence after all, so a little more crazy angles, especially when they are fighting Rocksteady and stabbing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I like how P1 leads to P2, but P2 brings us down to here.
Yeah.
And so there's a problem. It's got to bring us here.
I think the
Right,
thing I see the most
this should bring us here.
is panel 1 is just too big to me.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're doing establishing shot, it's just like bam, it's just there. You just need a little panel, tell people where you're going, what are you doing, and then that could have expanded with panel 2 more, and then go with the flow. But I love that it's colored. I love that the characters, everything looks great. I like the silhouette at the end saying "Turtle Power." Like
Actually, I really like that one.
Yeah.
See,
Good
I
job.
don't like that one. Like
You
to
don't?
me, it looks like they're running away to me. Like
yeah, I mean, I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Turtle
It does.
Power.
Yeah, they're not charging towards.
We're out of here, guys.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, they should have been. They should have
Too
been.
much.
They should have been bent more forward, so it looks like they actually charge.
yeah, with
charging.
weapons drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
Wolverine
now,
charge.
right now, it looks like they're more jogging.
Or like front on, have them
Yeah.
charging at the
Actually,
camera.
I'll say not only that, it almost like we've got lines of act. Like it feels like they're tucking their hindquarters almost. You know what I mean? Like it's just not an aggressive run at all.
It's
Yeah.
actually like they're running away more than running ahead.
Yeah, I think we agree on that one. Okay, next up is Michael McDonald.
Mhm.
I'll go with this to start.
Yep.
P1, I guess, is here, but we're kind of not really making things out, and the separation of the panels is a little bit hard to read. We've got the bash through here with Rocksteady, right? Rocksteady? Yeah, Rocksteady.
Mhm.
Yep. Comes through. Turtles are getting moved, but they're going in this direction, which leads us out here, right? We need to be led to P3. P3 has got to lead us to P4. P4 has got to lead us to P5. And we're doing almost the exact opposite. Look where we're being led. We're always being led in the wrong direction by what's in the panel and stuff like that, right? He needs to flip this panel so he leads us over to here, right? Maybe even angle it so the blade brings us in this direction here or something, right? This is not bad, especially if there was an emphasis in the eyes looking down, like we're looking up at them, but they're kind of doing this.
I really like that panel.
So it brings us
It
down.
reminds that panel reminds me a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's probably the strongest panel in here.
Yeah.
But then we've got the next panel that gives us way too much empty space here and just some little turtles in a half shell.
It's
This
pulled,
is
it's pulled
good,
too far back.
The last panel is supposed to be that final panel that really goes holy moment, right? Like, okay, here we go, here we effing go, but that it's lacking.
Yeah.
When it comes to that,
By far, we all agree this is the strong panel, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so good stuff, Michael McDonald. Next up is Tom Cuthbert. I don't know, Clay, you want to start?
Yeah, I love this one straight away because it looks so old school to me. I don't know. I can really picture this being printed on newsprint for some reason.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's it's cool. I like the big crash at the beginning. That's very classic. And this is probably this is how I am. Like I'm guessing in the script it says, Rocksteady breaks through the wall and starts attacking the Ninja Turtles. Like that's how panel 2 should look. But in all the others, they kind of look. It's a tiny panel, and you just can't fit all that action in one little panel. So I love that. And then third panel, great. So you can see that contrast between the sizing of the panels, right?
Yep.
Very skinny, long panel, and then the other ones below that are all vertical, elongated. Yeah, I think that the sequence itself is cool. Great camera shots, good character placement, lots of wonderful poses. I mean, in terms of drawing
flow.
ability,
And the flow.
great flow. Drawing ability, very, very solid. I think if the artist spent more time like developing the Ninja Turtles faces and like really getting to know them, they could have pushed their expressions a little more in different ways and nailed the proportions of the turtle heads some more closely. Not that they're bad, they're really, really good, but I know that the artist has that potential to really push it even harder that next time if they were to do that.
Totally agree.
Otherwise, man, there's not a lot of critique more than that I have to give to this page. Like I'm a huge fan. I love it. I like the like the first panel, and the second page is great with the dudes in the background, and just that last panel. It's so massive, and really, it has that impact, and that's what we want at the end of a sequence.
It has that impact that that the last one lacked a lot of.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I mean, this one follows the script by the letter almost, right? As much as it should, without changing it, and it looks, and it's I think maybe he got some how to draw comics.net tutorials behind him, because he's doing everything just right.
Yeah.
I love the ink wash.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Jason is a big use of ink wash himself, so
I love the ink wash. And again, panel 1, like I said, small establishing panel. That's all you really need. You just need that, like, this is what we're doing. Bam. Here's that crash scene.
Totally.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna jump with Clayton and say the only thing that bothers me is the consistency in the head. Right? Like we've got so many different head shapes, and like it's just if he was to just almost that colored one, I can't remember who that was. Eric Aylons, like how he captured the faces and everything like that. If Tom does that, this becomes like from our childhood turtles. He did
consistency, I think, is the word, right?
And all it would take is a few like turtle head studies. Like it'd be so fun to do that too. So
totally.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Awesome stuff.
Whose entry was that?
Oh, the previous one was Tom Cuthbert. This one, right?
Yeah.
I really like it. Yeah.
If you look on the layers, Deth, if you look on the layers, and he got the names.
Yeah, I've got the names sitting off to the side here.
If he forgets to see, if he forgets to mention them.
No. I'm just trying to let's see if I can clean this up just a little bit.
No, can you hold down Alt and just click the one layer you're looking at, because and then that will only that layer will show.
I don't know. I gotta come and.
No. So you don't have to. So you don't have to do that.
It's okay. I'm doing it.
It's okay. If I don't see it, I'll just ask Ed. You can tell me.
Okay, so we're doing Elias here, but it's a one-page entry. What do we feel about one-page entries?
Does it tell the whole story?
No.
No, it doesn't.
It's upside down.
Which
Elias?
upside down?
You just turned it upside down for some reason. Not sure how you did that.
Hey Ed.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that either. Weird.
Which Elias is this? Because we have 3 different Eliases.
Elias Delgado, Olivia. From what I can read. Elias Delgado, Oliver.
If you hit Control T.
Oh no, I did that wrong.
Yep.
So if you hit Control T on that layer, Ed.
That's okay. I got it.
Right there.
Oh, sweet. There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
He's got it. He doesn't need my help.
Yeah. No, got it. But we're only looking at one page here. And although I love this page, we're looking for 2-page entries here and stuff. And I think there's a lot of good things going on here. There's some inconsistencies in the faces, especially, that are bugging me. But I really wish that this person had enough time to get the 2 pages in.
Also,
and you know what? 2-page challenges are tough. We've had them only a couple times here. And that's the reason, we put up a 1-page challenge, we get 100 entries. We put up a 2-page challenge, we get 30, right? And there's a reason for that, right? Because it is tough. So
it is tough.
With Elias Delgado Oliver,
They did a good job.
He did a good job, but he needed to. I gave 2 months for this challenge.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
2 months. 2 months is enough to do 2 pages.
It's true.
Yeah.
So that's my feedback on that. I'm just going to say 2 months is enough to do 2 pages. Tai Vu. Oh, why did it all get changed here? Hold on a second.
I don't know what you did, because it was all good at one point, and then
It was me. I must have done something.
You rotated the whole page. So just rotate it back to what it was.
Did I?
Yeah, because... Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. If you look down...
I see what I did.
Yeah, if you look down to your left, you can see that you're rotating.
Okay. All right. I got it.
Okay. And now you flipped it horizontal, because look at the letters.
I'm
There we
good.
go.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
Quit messing with me, people.
We're just having some technical difficulties here.
Some Foychuk
Do you want to take this one, Clayton?
Yeah, I'll take this one. This is a really cool and interesting style that I'm not that accustomed to. I don't think I've ever really seen a style like this or read comic books with a style like this before. But I got to tell you, I think it works quite well. The establishing shot is awesome. Did you have a particular like a particular place that you wanted the establishing shot to be set in, Deth, when you were writing the script?
Not necessarily. The only thing that I wanted to make sure that they had was like a service tunnel,
Oh, cool.
like the leading into the sewer that was like
Yeah.
boarded up. That's the
All
only
right.
thing. And it seems like here, instead of having it boarded up, it's fenced in. I can see like
Gotcha.
fence in the first panel, and then the fence being broken in the second panel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the art's so nice. It works.
It works.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
dig it.
I think again that second panel, I think it needs to be bigger on a majority of these, honestly.
Yeah.
But
And to your point, you can't even see Rocksteady like on the panel, like really, like
Yeah.
as much as you probably should when you get introduced to it.
and I know that a 5-6 page panel page is difficult to all fit in and like compose. But that's the challenge, right? That's
Yeah.
part of the challenge that a comic book artist has to deal with every single day. Again, like panel 3 doesn't have any impact because it's too small, unfortunately, but it looks like it should have impact. Third panel is, oh, I see. So there's like a bit of a sequence going on in the third
He's
panel.
been bang, bang, bang in one panel on
Right.
B4. Yeah,
See,
I
that's
like that.
interesting. Yeah,
I like
a
that.
lot.
that's cool. I didn't notice that was what was going on straight away, but I got it. I got it.
Yep.
And yeah, so the I don't know. There's something going on with the panel sizing on this first page, especially where there's just a lack of impact in panels 3 and 5. 5 especially. It's just they're
I'm
too
going to
small
say
and
too
too
much
skinny.
real estate in P1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Panel 1 takes
yeah.
up too much. It's beautiful
Yeah.
though. I love
but
this.
it is
establishing
really
shot.
well drawn.
Yeah.
The
it's
second
nice.
page is fantastic. Second page I love to death. I think
Yeah,
you
it's
know if
great.
that first panel is just a classic, really memorable panel, and of course that final shot really kicks ass.
Deth, what do you
I
think?
think, like you know how you said the fifth panel is lacking energy. I think if you just moved it over, like it would actually work better. It's a little bit too linear from top to bottom.
Yep.
Yeah,
If they had
gotcha.
moved some of the panels around a little bit so that they weren't so like stacked on top of each other,
Yep.
Just a little bit better placement. I think it would have been stronger. That it would have
Yeah.
stood out a little bit more.
Those vertical panels can work great too.
Yeah.
Mm.
But hey, the last panel, I think looks great.
Page 2 in the overall, I think looks great.
Yeah, and I really do like that effect that he has with the sequence of events in that fourth panel in page 1 with Rocksteady.
Yep. Me too.
I
really
really
Yeah,
like that.
it's like they all get like a nice couple of hits in on them, and then
Yeah.
Leo finishes them off.
I guess, I don't know. This last page, in some ways I love it, but why am I brought over here?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
You know, he's bringing me here. He's bringing me nowhere. He's bringing me maybe here or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the
Does it
main
still-
figure here is bringing me there.
Yeah,
And
it
does
just-
it-
We should
it
be
almost
brought down to
face
here.
forward.
Does it still work, Ed? Do you think, or is it like literally like making you focus back on the other page?
Yeah, it brings me way off. It doesn't. Nothing brings me to this awesomeness that is right here.
You know
Why
what?
am
It
I
could have
brought there?
what could have worked if he had moved the background lines to direct you, maybe.
I was
Maybe.
just
That's a
about
good-
to say that. Yeah,
That's
a
those
good
lines
catch,
are
Ed.
pushing you the other
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and believe me, like I love Ty's artwork. Like this is, I'm a big fan of his. But there's some choices here that prevent this from being like the go to print pages, right?
You know, all he had to do was change the direction of Donatello's head. That's all he had to do.
Yeah.
That's a,
Yep, totally. Totally. That would totally change that page, right?
That's all the
And it's a
editor
choice
would
like
say
that,
too. Like, you just fix the head.
Yeah.
Just turn
You
his
know what?
head.
It's funny because like as soon as somebody points it out, I bet you Ty's like, damn.
Yeah.
You're right. You know? As artists, we're always like, we get so tunnel vision, we start banging it out, and then all of a sudden somebody pokes out, is like, "Why do you have that?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad." Right?
Yeah, I remember they talked. He actually talked about that in the comments as well in the thread that it was posted. That
Oh yeah.
you only see your mistakes when you have posted it.
Yep, totally. Next one is Nicholas Michael Clay something. I don't know. I
He's
start to lose the names.
He's one of my students actually, and
Yeah, great guy.
He's also
then,
been
Rick, you take
he's
it.
also been with us for two
Long
other previous competitions.
Yep.
Great guy, and just this last half a year, he's really moved up in the world, improved. Like, hey, can you can tell here, because he's following the script.
Yep.
Almost by the letter, right? Like step for step. He's not really taking any chances of going out and doing something a little wild to like mix it up, like to get that extra oomph that might be needed. But he is following the script, right?
Yeah.
Deth, you're the script maker.
Yeah, he did.
But I feel it. Yeah, but I feel it could have used a little bit more oomph, like more action sequences. Overall,
I don't know. For me, I think the only thing I would say is just needs, like, I actually really like he's hitting the beats. Like everything's kind of hitting it, and he's doing okay.
Yeah.
It's great for his skill level. He's doing great. I just think he needs to kind of just keep working it, keep working the anatomy, keep bringing it up, because there's some parts where like the turtles are running and their arms are super stretched, and there's so many good parts. Like his page 2 panel 1 is awesome, right? But I think he needs just that consistency of drawing anatomy in different angles and everything like that, being consistent with his anatomy and stuff. But I'm seeing his entries and I'm loving him. Like he's definitely improving.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And just with is it panel 4 there? You'll notice in panel 4 and 5, Rocksteady's head is basically the same size. I would have one of those panels where Rocksteady is maybe like it's a super close up shot of his head, just so that there's that rhythm happening within the shots. Otherwise, it just looks like the too uniform.
It's a good point, because look at that. Look at his bodies in those panels. Those change. The bodies change sizes, but his heads are the same. That was the first thing I saw. I
will say this: look at the flow. Brings us to this panel. Brings us to this panel. They're all looking. Brings us to this panel. This leg brings us to this panel. This blade brings us to this panel.
Good point.
Good job.
It's easy to see that he's been with us for a long time, because we talk a lot about panel flow being important.
Yeah, his strategies are quite good. This is from Rod Sumara.
Still in progress, but
obviously a good start. Yeah. Somebody who lays down construction lines. I love that. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to say this entry needs more to it, because
it's a shame. It's a shame it didn't finish.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But as an editor, I'd be like, cool. Next,
keep going.
Right?
Yeah. Good start.
This one's on Gerard Dreznick, and I'm sorry for the name butchering, right?
Andrea Dreznick.
Andrea? I don't know.
Andrea Dreznick.
It's a cool style.
I don't know. Jason, what do you think to start off?
Yeah, I like the style a lot. It has his very own style. I get how panel 1 leads us to panel 2. Again, I don't like the direction of it. I think it should be kind of almost facing the reader and then leading into panel 2, which kind of brings us to that big shot. Panel 3 on there is awesome.
Agreed.
Again, it's a very cool style for them. The last page panel looks awesome. I dig the color palette too.
Yep,
it's neat. I feel like some of the way the panels are kind of laid out though in the first page with panel 3, 4, and 5. I feel like panel 4 and 5 maybe could have been a little bit bigger. since we have such a long, drawn back overhead view of Rocksteady's death there.
Yeah, that could have been smaller. My also one of my concerns is the recognizability of the turtles. Kind of hard to see who's who.
I think they're wearing masks, right? They're all wearing masks.
Yeah, they're wearing skull caps, like over caps.
They are wearing the same, but it's hard to see. When you see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's usually easy to see who's who, right?
No,
From page to page. Normally,
this is where I'm going to disagree with you.
Depending on
the original turtles that were black and white, and the only way you knew who was their weapons.
Right.
That's good. Yeah, that's true. That is correct.
It's not a big thing for me.
I agree there. It is true.
I really like this.
But look at them. Where do you see you see two panels with their weapons drawn?
Right, I'll agree with that. Like, it's hard to see their weapons, so like who's who. I agree with that. But I mean, like, overall, the whole like cowabunga dude and pizza and different colored face masks or whatever.
Oh yeah. That it was
one thing I will say about this entry though is there's a lot of silence here, and I think it's very interesting. It feels very quiet, and then crash, and then quiet, and then crash, and then quiet. Do you know what I mean? They're surrounded by
absolutely.
and then quiet. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least that's what I feel in it, and it's very. I don't know if it's intended, but it's very interesting how powerful that silence is in some of these panels.
It
very
works,
powerful.
Sure.
The last comment I want to make on that final panel is I think it's cool and fantastic that he's got the bad guys swooping in on the turtles, but they're in the foreground, the bad guys, and the turtles are in the middle ground. It just makes them look like they're about to be swarmed, especially because they're very small too, so that they look more vulnerable just because of that. Good storytelling mechanism, yeah.
Yeah.
I also think the total power wording could have been moved just a little bit more.
Maybe it's an afterthought there.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's covering over
not a...
Yeah. Okay, next up is Elisa Bianco.
Oh, I love this.
Clayton, do you want to take this one first?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a look here. I like the second panel. That's cool. That's a good start. So Rocksteady's crashing through the wall there. First establishing shot panel is nice and small, not taking up too much attention. The next few panels, Okay, so the turtles are kind of wiped out, and then they're all ganging up on Rocksteady. See, I feel like really panel 4 should be a big panel too, because that's like a big battle scene between the turtles and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
You know, I think the final panel could probably be the smallest on the page, just in terms of layout, and maybe running along the bottom of the page or something like that. But that's just personal preference.
Actually,
I think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's hard to make out what the hell's happening there.
Yeah, it is. And, but in terms of style, really cool, stylized, polished style. So great job there. I think you really honed the look of your art quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with the turtles' faces and the lack of consistency from panel to panel here as well. I must admit, it's different faces as well. You made me look for that now, Clayton, after your first comment, and I see it here as well. To be honest, a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes it looks like they're coming out of different animations and stuff. Even. Yeah. It's interesting. Good entry. Like, she finished 2 pages and stuff like that. I think it's solid in so many ways.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of details. Like, look at all the brickwork and stuff like that. You can see a lot of work went into this. There's tons of stuff, but consistency in faces would have gone a long way. And then choosing, I think, some of, the panel from P4 to P5, they're down, they're up, he's out, I can't see what's happening. They look kind of cool, and then they're surrounded by something. Like, I don't know, it just, there's not a lot of transition between them and stuff, right? And the style, because the style jumps so much too, it feels jotted to me, like jotty. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's stilted. It doesn't have a nice flow to it.
Yeah, it's almost like there's time passing in between those panels
Yep.
for some reason, when really it should be happening all at the same moment. First half of page 1, though, I think is really solid. I love it.
Yep. Okay, next one is Elias Delgado. Did we do this one? No, we didn't do this one.
No.
Who's up first? Deth, you want to take a first stab?
This is the same guy.
Oh, I think half this page was done before. Like, we
Oh,
thought he
that's
had only
right,
done
that's
one
right.
page.
Look
We've
at
seen
this.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
He colored
So
it
we
in
have
the
the
second
full
page.
Yeah, we got it. We
Oh,
got
we
page
did
2.
finish. Okay, good. Well,
Good job,
luckily
guys.
we're not live. We can
Yeah.
cut it out.
I don't
But-
care. It doesn't matter.
No,
Like,
it's okay. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right.
I don't know. Deth, you want to grab it?
Let's see. Give me a second. I've got to look at it a little bit more. Can someone else go?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that saying, I feel like there's too much going on.
Okay, I'll take
And-
it. I'll just
Yeah.
basically say, like, I think there's some good things happening here, but some weird warping of the heads. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of warping going on here. They lose their form as like they start to get into potato head form and stuff like that. Where's the construction here? I feel like I said, I feel like they're almost made out of Play-Doh, and we've
That's
been talking about consistency in character design.
I
here
weirdly
and stuff
like that though.
Yeah.
Like
and that could be a
it
stylistic
fits
choice.
for some reason. Like it works for them.
It's for me, it's
They
not
just look
working.
weird.
I'm not loving how it almost looks like 1 second it's Adventure Time or something like that. Next second it's something else, right? Like there's a lot of things moving around. This panel, what is that? P5 does not bring us into P6 very well. P4 does not bring us into this one. This one's not too bad and stuff, but there needs to be a little bit of work on panel flow. This is not bad. I like the final splash. I think he did a really good job with the splash on the end.
Yeah, there's some great ideas for panel shots here.
Yeah.
I
Anybody
would-
else want to take it?
So, like the first page, I do like. It's gonna sound weird, but their choice of the sizes of their panels for the first page,
Mhm.
I think works really well. I think they chose the right panels to make big, and the right panels to make smaller.
Mhm. Good one.
And I
True.
do think the way he did it works really well. His usage, his economy of the space, I think he did very well.
Good point.
Good point. Yep, I agree with that. Yep, good stuff. Okay, we're moving on to Ewan Power.
It seems like Jason had to walk for a minute.
Oh, that's okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Ewan Power. Deth, we want to grab this one?
Let's see. I love the splash page. I love the use of the darks. It's almost being like it's illuminated by the turtles and everything around them is kind of in shadow. That's really cool. So this is a perfect example of what I was saying about the first page, the previous entry. See how this one's a little bit more less dynamic as far as the use of the space. The bottom four panels are exact same size.
Yep.
And it's almost like there's really no impact to the panels. It's a little bit too uniform.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that last panel, that turtle power panel, the splash is great. I really like that.
I don't like panel 4 have the same zoom in here that might be needed to zoom in to see all the details. Probably because takes me a minute to see what's actually going on.
Yep. And I'm not
I think-
going to zoom. Like if we can't see it, if it's not readable, then it's not readable.
True.
Yeah, I mean we've been able to see the others, so
No,
I
like,
think
it's
yeah.
I don't know. For me, if you can't squint and make out the forms and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? Like that's what I was always taught, right? Like it's got to have some readability there. And I'll tell you guys, I'm standing here with the screen right in my face, and I can't see what's going on in P4 either. So there's a problem.
should read from a distance.
One of the
If I
things
if I can't hold the picture, like basically what I've got it on my screen right now is comic book size, and if I can't read it at 1 foot away from my nose, then it's not readable.
What
One
were
thing
you
I
gonna
do
say,
really
Jason?
love is I love, and this is probably what I would have tried to do, is I really love panel 2 for page 1, how they incorporated the word crash
Yep.
into the art. So
Me
like
too.
Yeah.
that C is kind of
Yeah.
hooking over one of them, and Donatello's
Badass.
bow or something is going through an A. It looks like I
Yep.
really
Yeah.
like that. That's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah,
panel
that's
4 is really hard to read. Again, that rock steady stabbing through the chest leads me straight back up to panel 3.
Totally.
But the last panel is fantastic on there too.
Yep.
It's good, solid style. I like a lot of the stuff. I just wish, again, like I feel some people are a little afraid to go outside of the panels, and I think that kind of helps separate things. Like panel 3 would be great if that didn't have a border at all, and you just got like a lot of the background kind of blended into behind all these other panels. So it's almost like pulls it out of it into its own world.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6 are just so, as Deth was saying, it's just a little bit too 1950s, simple panel layout and stuff like
Great
that.
black and white artwork though. I like it.
Yep, for sure. Okay, next up is Michael Johnson. We already
We saw
did
this one.
We've gone over that.
Kenneth Chandler.
Ah, yes.
Cool.
Okay, I don't know. Clayton, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, for sure. I really like the okay. I think there's some really cool, unique things going on with the panel layout on the first page.
Yes.
So I love the perspective of that establishing shot. That's awesome, and it kind of takes you straight to the second panel just because of the composition of it. And panel 2 has a lot of impact because of that that triangular shape that it's taking on. Rocksteady is coming out and he's massive, but it's great because the panels kind of like are worked into the perspective, which I've never really thought about or taken note of before. So I think that's cool. Yes, third panel is great. The only one that really messes with me a little bit is just it's panel 5 where the Ninja Turtle Donatello, I think it is he's popping right out of that panel, and there's just no room for him in it. That's why he's there.
You're reading it wrong. He's in P4.
I actually like it. Yeah, he's in panel 4.
He's hitting his bow staff right on the head here, and that's
right.
P4.
Yeah, and
I
then you
thought
see
like it was panel 5 also.
you see Leonardo's hand in the foreground holding the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
See,
there.
that's
hard
confusing.
to see.
Oh wow.
It's
I
hard to
agree.
read.
I agree with Clayton here that could have been more obvious for sure.
Yeah, it's
but
hard
I
to
like
read.
the idea of it is good. But
It was great up until that point.
It could have been done better. The idea with the Donatello out of panel shot there.
Yeah.
The idea
maybe-
worked if done
Yeah.
properly, and something's missing.
Drawn very well though.
Yeah,
Done,
absolutely.
when you do the panel splay, that's what I taught about in my course and stuff like a fan splay. It's a very easy to bring the viewer all the way through, right? So this is an easy technique for panel layout, but it moves things really fast, and you've got to be careful with any breaks, because once you start breaking, where the hell is the break? You don't know where the breaks came and went, right? So unless the break just breaks like this, then it's clear. But a break that breaks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels, you're just guessing where that person's breaking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I like the back, like if these guys were turned just a little bit more or something like that and looking behind them. Are they looking behind them? I don't even know now. Like they're surrounded, right? So yeah.
I don't think so.
I think the only Donatello and
Yeah.
Michelangelo is looking. Raphael is looking front with Leonardo. It looks like.
Yeah, I think
We
only
lost a
Donatello.
turtle. Did we lose a turtle here?
Yeah. Where did Donatello? Donatello went home.
Wait, what?
Let me see.
There's no Donatello.
Is that a shadow of Donatello? I
think
feel
it's
like we
supposed
lost
to
one
be
of our turtles
shadow.
in the last splash.
Or maybe it's a shadow of Leonardo.
No,
He's
Leonardo is on the
disappeared.
Leonardo is on the left.
Leo's here.
But yeah, is it Leo's shadow or is it supposed
Yeah.
to be Donatello?
Yeah,
I think it's a shadow.
you know what's funny? Because this first page and this splayed flow really caught my eye, and I loved it. And there's a couple pieces that I'm like, but I feel like the second page, which is on most people hits harder, it doesn't hit as hard.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I do like the villains that he chose to use.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Wingnuts in there, Baxter Stockman.
The Rat King
Kings.
is Rat Kings in the back.
All the little rats are running behind them.
Leatherface.
there's a lot of good things there. It just doesn't have the impact that the first page.
Donatello is missing. I mean, that's a big no to have one of the two the main title characters missing from the big
without
fight.
explanation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, without explanation. Kind of strange, right? Yeah. Okay. Next one is Orlando Baez.
This is this the penciled one? He had an inked version.
Did he?
This looked like. Isn't that the inked one? This looked inked, right?
It looks
one looks inked, one kind of looks penciled here. I don't know.
Oh,
either way, I think we could judge it as is and stuff like that.
All right.
Jason, you want to tackle it?
Panel one's again. It's good, but it's not. Like the perspective's a little weird to me.
Yep.
I like that they chose this like long vertical panel for. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. So it breaks down there. Okay.
Yeah, it breaks into 5.
It's still a really strong panel.
4.
I don't know. I dig the style, but it's a little hard to read in certain things. A little too cluttered.
Yeah, we've got this break. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're breaking 2 into 4, and that brings our eye down there right away, right?
I thought 2 and 4 were actually one long panel until I adjusted my eyes to it.
Yeah.
I
and
like
aren't
the
we missing?
silhouette.
Isn't there supposed to be 6?
There's a panel missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're missing number 6 there, right?
Yeah.
Although, looking at the next page, what are we looking at here?
His crotch.
We've got 2 faces and a crotch.
Yeah.
So I think what he did is he took the 6th panel of the first page and the first panel of the second page and combined them.
Okay.
To make
I dig that they're kind of standing over Rocksteady with foot soldiers coming at them, but I wish it was pulled out just a little more, getting a little more
enemies
action of enemies.
The script says a lot of enemies.
The point of the splash is to just be like wowed by all the enemies that you see. So this one it doesn't hit as well because all you're seeing is the 4 turtles. And
I like the style though. Very cool style.
Yeah, cool style.
Yeah,
cool line work style. Actually, I really like the line work style on this.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah. Okay, next one is Ahmed Kudora, or Ibrahim Kudora. He goes by both. I'll tackle this one first.
Yep.
I think that we spend a lot of real estate in P1, and the impact in P2 is really not that impactful. I'm noticing 2 turtles here. I didn't notice them at first, right? So that's not great. P3, the lettering's overlapping on top of a turtle here. The dynamic action in P4, we've got we're kind of stilted. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very stiff, right? We've got a lot of stiffness going on. So I think that needs to be worked on. The consistency, like in the faces, okay, but then these guys are in front of this. Is this like a montage of like 1980s mall pictures where you have a face hovering in the background or something? If this face should be up in front of these guys or something, right? Like that doesn't really make sense to me. And then once again, we've got very stiff characters all standing pretty damn vertically, right? Like everybody's just kind of standing around. And so for me, dynamic action. I'm just going to say they need this guy. What he needed to do was just say boom, 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 and start to have movement in his.
I can see his ideas, but they didn't really execute it all properly. I mean, for the one where Rocksteady is going to die, I think he wanted to make a lot of slices at him, like it looked like
Yeah.
a ton of slices,
Yep.
but I don't think he really got there.
Yep.
And I mean, kudos for him even trying. It's
great
as
effort.
we've spoken about before. Those people that we might not be the most experienced and is still new. I'm still afraid of showing my stuff as an example. So kudos to him for doing it.
Leonardo on that 5th panel. See, he kind of.
Yeah,
That's a good pose.
it's a good pose for sure.
Yeah.
As far as like when he kind of like pushed it a little bit and then
Yep.
kind of put someone in a good pose. That was a good pose.
Right. That's his most pushed pose, and it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one other thing that I want to comment on here is just consider the consistency within your style, because this almost looks like mixed medium to me.
Yeah,
Like there's some areas where you've got what looks to be painted. It almost looks like painted or airbrushed or something, especially that first panel. But then we've got the line art around the Ninja Turtles in the following panels. Clash of style. You got to keep all that consistent. The Ninja Turtles are in line art, and to find that way, make the first panel done in the same manner, colored the same, inked the same. I'm not saying it can't work. It's just very hard to pull off. And then just with your line weights, right? So in all the other panels, except the last one, your lines were quite thin. The last one, all the lines end up thickening up. Okay, so keep your line weights, not in terms of not having any line weights at all, but just keep the maximum thickness of the lines and the minimum thickness. Keep that consistent throughout the panels.
Well,
You
have
know,
a strategy in line weights, right? If you're going to
exactly.
be working line weights, thin to thick or whatever, there's a strategy behind it. It closer to the camera or closer to the viewer, the line weights get heavier. Whatever it is, have a strategy, and that wasn't shown here.
Yeah, and to help you out with that, by the way, just find some references of artists that you like, do some studies of their style.
Yeah,
and
Go
that'll
back
help you
real
out.
quick to that. Just one quick note. That top panel on page 2, Leo's kind of like overlapping. I believe it's Raphael's face.
Yeah.
So to remember the depth perception, like you guys are saying with line weights and stuff, because it makes it almost look like there's a giant turtle right there next to the three of them.
That's what Ed was saying, yeah.
But great effort.
Yep.
Awesome.
Andy Liu, I don't know. Deth
Andy Liu, yeah.
Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm jotting down everyone's name as I go.
Andy Liu. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I like the use of colors. It's very colorful. And the third panel, those are some nice muscles.
Yeah.
Right, Ed? Good muscles, Ed. Yeah, there we go.
There you
The
go.
flex.
Had to
Good
flex.
muscle. I like the expressions on their faces. Let's see. That first panel, you should flip that.
Right.
Yep.
It doesn't flow well. Just flip it. But I mean, I don't see like the last 2 panels. When I wrote it, there's a reason I wrote it kind of as one big splash, because I wanted that second page to really pop. As a writer, and maybe as if I were thinking as an editor, if this is the last page of the comic, I really wanted that last page to pop with all the enemies and all the turtles charging at the enemies, and turning it into 3 panels almost kind of kills it as far as like the energy. It's just not there.
Yep.
Another thing I noticed from the get-go with he's been really good at showing his progression as well. All of his panels are like he kind of looks like a separate illustration rather than having it all put together like as the comic. It doesn't have a lot of connection panel to panel. It's like each panel is their own, and that's also as now that I also saw his build up from the thread, he seemed like he did it panel to panel, like finished one panel, then went over and finished another, rather than having the whole page to work on.
Yeah, I hear
So,
what you're saying.
and that loses a lot of that loses a lot of flow. Like,
Yeah.
and that panel 3, I'm not sure what Raphael is doing, but it looks a little off, because then Donatello's hand on Michelangelo, there's something there, like something that's weird looking.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like the Ninja Turtles' faces.
Yeah.
I think they have so much character to them.
Yeah.
Like I know that they're like weirdly stylized in some ways, but I just
Oh, yeah,
feel like
that's
it has so much personality. So great job there. That's my favorite part about these pages, honestly, is the Ninja Turtle heads.
I think I'm gonna, just expand on what Rick said a little bit there. Is that part of it is because we saw a little bit of his works in progress that we know this, but it's very clear when we see these panels laid out that they're not leading to each other. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not the design here. Yes, they were illustrated separately, and I don't care. He could draw them all separately.
Absolutely. He could have done that and made it work. Absolutely.
But what's happening is that none of these panels are leading to the next one, and they're not designed that way. There's no flow, obviously I can do this. We should have flipped this. That would have brought us to this, but this one brings us this way. This one, his eyes bring us this way. This one brings us over this way. This one brings us this way. This one doesn't bring us maybe back up into this one. Do you know what I mean? These guys bring us over to here. This one doesn't bring us anywhere. This one brings us over here. There's just no design to the flow. This is some nice illustrations, but this is
Beautiful.
Not designed as a page.
Yeah.
That's one thing that, it's one thing to be a really good illustrator, a really good cover artist, but it's like sequential storytelling is a whole other ball game, and this is a big part of it. That that flow, capturing it, hard to do for most people. So good effort though.
Okay, next up is Levi Olsen. I don't know. I'll go first. Openings. First off, the ink work in some of this is really good, but it gets kind of somewhat inconsistent. Like by the end of it, I'm almost looking at a thin line animation vibe to it, and the first one is like an old school graphic novel inked out. The first page, especially the first couple panels, right? And we start to lose that detail as we go through. It starts off like P2 is heavily rendered and inked, but P1 on page 2 is animation style. Like I don't, unless something really messed up here, and we're looking at two different artists.
We're not. We're not. It is the same artist if you look at the faces of the turtles.
Okay, well then we've totally changed rendering styles.
Yeah.
And I don't enjoy that. I think this panel's okay. This one is not bad. That brings us here. I would have liked his
page 1 was good.
Something bringing us more down into here. This one doesn't really bring us anywhere. This one could have angled slightly in case we're depending on how the page is laid out, but could have brought us up to here instead of up here, right? We could come up to here. This one doesn't bring us anywhere, kind of brings me somewhere over here. This one kind of brings me either nowhere or straight up. And then I've got an awesome splash that looks like it's the cover of a toy box, which I love. I really love it.
I love it.
Awesome. It's really cool. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, but the rendering style totally throws me, and the ink, there's no panel flow at all.
I love the I think this is the best one with when it comes to expression from both the Rocksteady and the Turtles in particular.
That's cool.
Yeah. There's on point expressions right there. But I agree with the lack of consistency with the inking. And again, they had 2 months, so I don't think if they really wanted to, I don't think just looked like it was a time issue thing the way, because it's in two different ways. If you look at panel 2 and then the last panel, it almost looks
legit. I thought we were looking at different artists here.
If he had kept it, the last panel, the splash, if he had just used that inking style for the whole thing, it would have been great, because that looks really nice. And the last 2 panels of the second page are so expressive and so so strong.
Gorgeous.
I would love
No,
to
it
color
just-
that. I want to color that last page. There was, like that's a perfect job.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like it. I like the second page a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next is David Jackson. I don't know, Jason, you want to take this one? Jason and Clayton.
I definitely love the style automatically.
Me
the
too.
second I
Yeah,
see
it's
it.
great.
It's very cool. I don't know.
Consistent.
Panel, it is very consistent. Love the expressions. Anatomy looks great. The only thing bothered me a little bit is that panel 1 image looks like it's almost cut off in a way.
Yeah,
Blends too much with panel 2.
totally.
But I love Rocksteady getting stabbed. I love how they pull out from the behind. I mean, overall, it's a great page.
Yeah, this is one of the best first pages I've seen, actually. I do agree with you there, Jason. I feel like, man, like, make that first establishing shot. I know it's going to be small, but, like, you can still make it interesting by mixing up the camera angle a little bit. It just looks like a circle with some wood over it at the moment. But besides that, the rest is so killer. Like, that second panel is great. That's how the fifth panel should be, the one where Rocksteady is getting stabbed. Hopefully,
Yes, it's a great shot.
Totally.
and then the last panel is awesome too. Like, that's it looks big, but it's using up the space that it's got. Like, you can see everything really clearly. I love that. That's so cool.
Michelangelo's expression in page 2.
Yeah,
Like, oh crap.
yeah, that's awesome.
And
I'm gonna say
Leonardo's
that-
is good.
Yeah.
There's some very, very strong things that are going on this page, on this entry and stuff like that. But unfortunately for me, there's a couple weak points that just make me like, this is just a toe step below, like, perfectly published. Do you know what I mean? P1, I don't understand why it's a half or a 3/4 circle here. I don't understand at all. This could have been like, fix that and you've got a perfect page pretty much, right? Some of the, like, this panel up here on page 2, but then we've got a lot of this simplified building and stuff and this kind of cheesy smoke effect that just really isn't pushing it. This could have been cropped in tighter and just had a little bit more oomph with, like, some sizing variation and stuff like that. And I think this, we've got some blank space here that I'm not in love with. And unless we have turtle power put in here, there's no reason for it. Like, it's just missing an opportunity to really fill the whole fucking panel there. And so, like, there's so much awesomeness to it, but there's some missed opportunities here.
Yeah, it's probably the weakest panel, actually, out of all of them.
Yeah,
that's sad because it shouldn't be. It should be the exact opposite, right? It should be the strongest.
Yeah. But the thing is, we all love it. Like, we all love it.
Yeah.
It's strong.
Right? It's just it's just missing those two opportunities to make this, oh my god. Do you know what I mean? Like, this could have been an oh my god entry.
Yep.
I love how Donatello picks up his sledgehammer to use.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah,
There's just so much goodness in this, right?
Yeah.
So many small nice details.
Yep, for sure. Okay, next one is Chelsea Mcwillis.
Why did this almost remind me like of that old school Simpson animation kind of drawing, right?
Yeah. I didn't notice it before, but it does.
And that's not said in a bad way, because even that was good back in the day, and it looks good, and it has its own personality.
Yep.
Has its own personality just by looking at it from the start.
What else do you think, Rick?
Well, then we come to the panel 2 again. Apparently, that's my thing for this show to talk about how much panel 2 always looks weird for me.
Yeah.
Too much of panel 1, too little of panel 2.
Yep.
I think if they had switched those around a little bit in size wise, there could have been more details in panel 2 to make it appear as what I think was intended.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I like the camera angles again. Very it's like a very steady cam all the way through. There's a few zooms here and there, but
Yep.
no real angle changes or.
I've got a question. Who's stabbing who here?
Well, I guess because we assume Leo's the one with the sword.
Okay, so Leo's stabbing Rocksteady, right?
Yeah, you should remember also when we talked about that, but
Guys,
when they
hold
first
on,
started, they
Rick,
first started with
Rick.
colors. Yep.
Just hold on for a second. I'm making a point here.
Mhm.
Leo is stabbing Rocksteady, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From in front or behind?
Behind.
Behind. What does the last panel show us?
Yep.
Nice catch.
Right?
Yeah.
Where,
Oh,
where'd
panel
that come
6
from?
is unneeded though.
Stabbing the dead body a few times?
No,
Right? Like
no.
what?
You see that tiny panel between him
Yeah,
being
that's
stabbed
weird.
Yeah.
saw that too.
and him on
just
top of
saw
him?
that. Why? Why is that there?
Yeah. What is that? Some of that doesn't make sense, and it doesn't help us at all.
You know, it actually
Is that-
does. It actually creates a tangent with the sword.
Is that Rocksteady's back in that last panel on the page one? Like maybe that's his back,
You
Yeah,
think?
maybe it's his back.
and his head's just.
Oh wait,
turned.
it is. Look, because you can see the back of his pockets underneath Leonardo.
What? Oh,
Yeah,
I-
that's back pockets, right? I mean, I've seen an ass before that looks like an ass more than the front.
So you're an expert in rhino ass, is what you're telling me right now.
Oh, let me tell you, I see.
You can
Oh,
tell
boy.
this
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
bottom
this
line
video's
is-
going on too long here.
those are back pockets, right? Can
They
agree
do
look
that
like-
those are
And I'm
back
wrong.
pockets?
The bottom line is that
I'm
the
wrong.
last
Yeah.
panel is really hard to read.
It's
That's the
hard.
It's
bottom
hard to,
line.
yeah,
It's hard
that's
to read.
yeah.
We shouldn't be
absolutely.
having this conversation about
Totally.
Rhino.
Exactly, Clayton. We shouldn't
Behinds.
have. We are talking about rhino asses. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The fact that Chelsea has made us talk about whether we recognize rhino asses or not.
Well,
Yeah.
is
That's
a
a
problem.
win. That's a win for Chelsea right there. You
Yeah.
made me do so. You made
I
me.
don't know if it's a win.
You made me debate something I never thought I would debate again.
Okay, I
mean,
will
what-
say the last panel on the last page, there's a lot of power to it. The blacked out figures and stuff like that is kind of cool.
yeah.
They look like Spider-Man though.
Totally. There's an
Mhm.
Attack of the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Enter the Spider-Verse, Turtleverse.
I like the red headbands though.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Good job on that. Yeah.
It's cool as.
Yeah, there's some really good things going on here, but there's also a lot of room for confusion, and there should never be that much confusion, right?
Mm.
This one's Mustafa Zakaria.
Let it render in for a second for me. I
nice.
think. Oh yeah, there we go.
I like how he
Say,
drew
well,
Rocksteady.
Yeah.
It's cool.
You know, the good thing about this is, it's funny because for the most part, most of us are seeing these entries for the first time. And I think that's really important. We don't have a lot of prejudgment. We're not fans necessarily. Like, sure, we recognize some of these artists from before. Some of them are my students or Clayton's or Rick's and stuff like that. So we recognize some of them, but I didn't come into this conversation, oh yeah, I know what's going to win, or what I feel or anything like that.
Jason,
We're all
and,
just kind of looking at these pages and say, how does it pop? What does it
and-
show us?
Yeah.
What does it tell us, right? And that's important.
Jason came in here without even knowing the script.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows it by now. Maybe
I
not.
picked it up after a
Oh,
while.
you picked
I
it
love
up.
panel 2. I love how we got one turtle flying off
Yeah.
off into
Yeah.
panel 3 there.
Yep.
Um,
And the panel
again,
break that brings
yeah,
us to
nice.
panel 3.
Nice panel breaks there.
I think that's the best panel 2 I've seen so far.
I like the
One of them.
motion of panel 4 with Donatello's like smacking him, breaking the stick. How his face is kind of like, "Brr." But I think we could have pulled in a little bit on panel 5.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would
That-
agree with that.
The foot soldiers on that last one though. That's
It's like, where's Waldo, right?
that's
Oh,
great.
I love it.
It's cool.
It's very
And
neat.
none of them have got eyes, and they don't need them. I don't care. I
Yeah,
don't
that's,
care if they can
that's
see.
the beauty. Sometimes, you just they got
Yeah,
some
well-
Mausers in there too. I see. It's awesome.
Yeah. I love that Where's Waldo vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think that just those bottom 4 panels, to the same. And it's like, yeah, I'm getting a snapshot of each of what's the scenes and what's happening within them, but it doesn't have a lot of power to it. You know, you can really manipulate the sizing and the placement of those panels to enhance the story, and it's not being utilized here to the max. So, you know, just something for everyone to look out for. You know, that old 6-panel layout for a page with all the same size panels. It used to work, and it used to be the way that things were done, the standard. But these days, you know, there's been innovators who have pushed comics forward, and it's definitely good to take advantage of the way in which they've implemented those things to give more impact to their stories.
Listen, when we do like the 9 per page or 12 or whatever we're doing and stuff like that, that gives a certain tempo. Do you know what I mean? We're choosing, you know, every time we have a panel, we have a certain pacing break and stuff like that, right? And so, yes, we have these panels, but by making them square, making them blocked, making them perfectly aligned and stuff like that, we're choosing the eye's tempo. And there's a lot more things happening there that we can play with those panel designs here, right? So there's lost opportunity. One cool opportunity that this person took, though, you notice how they point out the glasses?
Yeah, I love that part. Yeah, the last page.
That was cool as hell.
Putting them back together.
There's so many small details.
Little small detail that I appreciate. Like I appreciate that little bit in there, right? And I think that's pretty cool. You know, we've got a lot of submissions here. We're almost done them, but we appreciate the effort that went into all of them, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, this one was sent to me, and I'm going to say this before I even get into it. This was an extremely low-res image. Like, when you're submitting to anybody, anything for work, you want to send off emails of high-res images. For this contest, we didn't say email in the high-res. Facebook was good enough. Do you know what I mean? Just send me the images, and we dealt with them off of Facebook. Could kind of kill quality a little bit. But so far, out of all the images sent, we didn't have an issue. This one entry, this is Ryan Christopher something, was the one that came out the tiniest little image. This is me stretching it out and blowing it up. So when you're sending it, you know, just don't send me thumbs size, you know, like give me some decent resolution here. Minimum for print is 300 DPI, you know, hit higher, you know, watch your sizing. And so that's my first critique of this entry.
Yeah. And if you accidentally did it at this size, just, you know, if you're ever working on a comic book page, work at a high resolution, because you don't want to accidentally realize you did it too small.
Yep.
Otherwise, all that work is gone. You can't really print low resolution stuff.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
I get a big like Richard Corbin vibe from this.
Yep.
Like, I love it. That panel that first panel on page 2, with the way it's like splashing the water. It's really cool. Really cool.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of cool things here.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know how to describe the style. It's very consistent in its execution, but and even though the panel layouts are simple, it works with that style very well.
I agree.
So, in this particular situation, it's kind of an exception. Like I don't mind it. I think this is solid. It's quite solid work. Even the panel layouts, even though they're simple, nothing too crazy going on, it works with the overall visual appeal that the artist has gone for.
How they did the crash between panel 1 and panel 2, really good. I like that.
Yeah, it's
For
neat.
sure.
My only first issue is that Leonardo's sword, as it impales Rocksteady, really looks like he's also deflating him to be really small, like, because that sword is big.
Yeah. For me, I think this could have been filled up more. Yeah. There's some opportunity that's lost there.
If
a lot
anything,
of real estate
that
being used
in,
on this one.
know?
But
I mean, where's Raphael looking at? Who's he looking at on the last picture? He's looking at nobody right now.
Yep. Yeah.
And hey, sorry, Ed. Go ahead.
No, Rick is right. Like, you know, Raph is looking this way, but nobody's standing here. We could have filled the foreground with some figures here or something like that, and that would have totally made sense, right?
And I just want to ask, Deth, did you tell the artist to put in those captions?
Yes.
Right, gotcha. Okay, well, I'm going to go against Deth here, and I'm just going to say, real quick, just because you can put in captions doesn't mean you always should. And the only reason I say that is because unless there's additional information there that the reader needs to know about beyond what they're supposed to see in that panel, it's about show, don't tell, right? And
Well, what I told them is if they didn't include the captions, it wouldn't be used against them.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah,
reason
gotcha.
that I put the captions in the script is because I wanted them to. Because if you did a comic and you had text or dialogue, you would have to leave
Yeah.
space for that text or dialogue.
yes,
And I wanted them to be able to draw it, knowing that they would have
As
to.
part
leave
of the
an area.
as part of the
I
challenge.
totally get that, and that is a really good exercise. So that's awesome as well that you included it, Deth. But in saying that, that's kind of the point, right? Like those dialogue boxes are going to take up space. So if the script requires it, you got to put it in. You don't have a choice. If you're doing your own comic book, really consider whether or not it's a necessary thing. If you have to start explaining too much what's happening within those panels, you might not be getting it across enough through the visuals.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Okay, so next up we've got Victor Ruffino here. We've seen his entries before. He usually does pretty damn well, and I think he brought the heat here. I don't know, Jason, why don't you go first on this one?
Yeah, first off, just looking at it as a whole, it's beautiful. I love the coloring. I love the style. Characters look great. I love that we got a small span establishing shot.
Yep.
Big crash panel. Yeah, I think the flow's great. The stab through the hearts going into the next panel, which, this is pretty awesome. I love we got Leatherface, Leatherhead down there. I mean, yeah, I like the Shredder fighting Leo in the foreground. I don't see anything wrong with this.
No.
Yeah, it's all very killer.
I mean, Victor always steps it up, but he's been with us since day one almost, it feels like, and he's stepped it up every time. He's always been in the runner-ups in our competition and even won.
Yep.
So he's always practicing. He's always learning, and he's been with us and loyal with us since I can recall. Really,
that last panel is the best one I've seen. Like,
I agree.
It has so much awesome stuff going on in it. Like, you get a really good look at the monsters. We see the turtles have been like, overwhelmed by these villains, which is great. Like, I feel like these 2 pages is what Deth was picturing in his head almost when he was writing out the script.
Pretty much.
I'm just going to jump in here really quick. We've got an establishing shot that's kind of just there, but it starts to bring us out into here. We bring ourselves here, bring ourselves back into here, bring ourselves over to here. Look at this panel broken by the bush.
I love that. I love that so much.
Cool.
I noticed that too.
And then we've got, foreground, we've got midground, we've got background. This is laid out like a professional.
Yeah, it's pro.
Absolutely.
I love that Donatello's kicking Leatherhead.
Yeah. There's little bits of coolness. There's big bits of coolness. Do I have any critiques? Jeez, I don't even know. Like,
that would be unnecessary. That would be severe nitpicking. But I know Victor personally, and he wants that kind of nitpicking.
Okay, so I might have done this instead of the overlap onto Rocksteady or something like that. I might have made this smaller in a corner box, and I might have angled this a little bit more into the panel or something like that. Have it a little bit more protrude. But this is just nitpicking, right? Like there just been a couple little things that I might have changed. But damn, this is a hot entry.
What do you think, Deth?
Dude, I think the guy's better than me. So
Deth has just been drooling at this pace since we started talking about it.
Like Donatello's expression in panel 2, I freaking love. Like, I can't critique anything. It looks perfectly fine. It looks like professional 2 pages.
Damn.
I gotta say that. See, the establishing shot always gets overlooked, but I want to bring attention to it this time around because that is a sick establishing shot.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
character in it. It's not just wooden boards placed over the front of a hole, like straight across. It's like, it's really creative.
There's
You know,
great
every
graffiti on
aspect
it
of
and
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. Like,
Yeah.
there's-
And do you know what's really smart was with the establishing shot, he chose to use that the border, the double edged border, so it's to separate from the second panel,
Yep.
Mhm.
right? And and it's the only time he's used it because he didn't need it anywhere else. And it's just it's great to see someone thinking about that stuff as they're doing it. You know, I really
big time.
I got nothing.
It's good.
Yeah, there's so much goodness here. We're all in agreement. Cool stuff.
Very awesome.
So, guys, we're at the hour and a half mark here, and I think we've got about 30 entries here. We gave a lot of feedback. I want to thank everybody again for their submissions.
And
Hopefully, we didn't miss any.
we still got
If we
two.
miss something, we'll go back and grab them.
Okay.
Okay. If we miss some, we'll make sure we go back and grab them and make sure we deal with them and stuff like that. But don't take the critiques that hard. Take them as just nudges that we love you and we're trying to move you in the right direction, right? We've got a lot of experience that's on this panel right now, and we're just trying to share our insights. If you disagree with them, cool. It's just suggestions, right? Like you don't have
Let
to
us know.
change it, but just realize that maybe next time you can take some of the lessons and start to move forward with it, right?
I mean, even us judges disagreed through here. So as you can tell, so
and that's okay too, right? I want to thank everybody for showing up today. Thanks to howtodrawcomics.net for being the main, bringing all of us together. Thanks to Ric Bülow for submitting some of the prizes, to ComicsCast for submitting some of the prizes as well. But most of all, thanks to all the artists that submitted their work. Jason, I'm glad you came out. Deth, and we love you. Thanks for the script, man.
Yeah,
guys, that's it for this this edition of our first annual ever. We're gonna have more Winter Summer Slam, and I think it was a massive Turtle Power hit.
absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks so
guys,
much, everyone.
and we'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Good job.